If it doesn't happen, rather, it's not because of we couldn't agree terms on money or anything. It's because he got knocked out by Alexander Usyk or Pulev, or I got chinned by Wilder, basically. So there is quite a few tough hurdles in the road for both of us. There's a few hurdles in the road for both of us, but I'm sure that with the right focus and the right mental attitude, that we can do the business. And if it's supposed to happen, I'm not convinced it is by any means of imagination. I never have been convinced. Never. Never have I ever been convinced that I will ever fight Anthony Joshua. I've never been convinced.
Well, you're still not convinced you're going to fight him?
How can I be convinced? If he's got to fight Pulev, and if he's got to fight Usyk, how can I be convinced that he's going to get through them fights without losing? Can you? Nobody can.
I think the Andy Ruiz defeat teaches us a lot about everything. It's just a reminder that when all these anything can happen.
How can I even be confident, like 100 million% confident I'm going to smash Wilder? Wilder could absolutely blitz me in round one with one big right hand. Good night, Vienna. That would put a hell of a wedge in the door, wouldn't it? So this is why I hate talking about fights that ain't really happening or ain't really existing at the moment. I hate announcing fights next, like they did it once with the Otto Wallin fight, with the Wilder fight, and they did it with the Pianetta fight with the Wilder fight. One fight at a time. I'm a big believer in that. Never overlook your opponents because you're always going to come up second best.
Those are some more choice words from Tyson Fury. And he explains that he's not convinced that he will fight Anthony Joshua. And he explains why. He could get chinned by Deontay Wilder, get caught with one of those big right hands of Wilder. And Anthony Joshua, if he has to fight Pulev and Usyk, there's no guarantee that he will get past both of them. Okay, let's say he beats Pulev. What about Usyk? Or vice versa, I'm glad that Tyson Fury has an understanding about the possibilities of this fight not happening, okay? And I'm also glad that he's not excluding himself from the possibility of the fight not happening because it could very well be him, One thing that did stick out at me is because he might get knocked out by Wilder. But if you still noticed that he hasn't mentioned White, he hasn't mentioned Dillian White as we know the WBC has ordered Tyson Fury to fight Dillian White before this Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury saga, right? Between these two guys. And you notice he hasn't said that yet. He's only focused on Wilder. And one thing I thought was rather strange is when he said, I hate calling out fights. And, I hate calling out fights before the fights. He said he did it in the Otto Wallin fight, and he said that was a tough fight, and he did it in the Pianetta fight, and that was a grueling fight for him. And that, honestly, that Pianetta fight was the fight that made me convinced that Deontay Wilder was going to knock him out in the first fight, in their first encounter, simply because I knew that he just looked worn out. He looked like he was just pushing every round, every punch. It was just kind of like a fatigued performance. Okay, so I understand why he doesn't like to, but the question is, why did you? I kept asking that question again and again. Why did Tyson Fury even announce the fight if he doesn't even know and he's not confident that the fight's going to happen? He was all him and Mr. Canahan, and he was praising Canahan for getting this fight done between Warren and Hearn because he was the common denominator, or that cool hand Luke between those two guys, right? So, he was happy. He was balls for the wall. Now he's like, well, hey, how can I be confident that this fight's not going to happen? How can I be confident that this fight's going to happen, right? So it's like now we have doubt, but realistic doubt. But I think this type of interview should really have been preached before the praising of this advisor, quote unquote, that Tyson Fury was involved with. Because a lot of people now are really trying to say, hey, you know what? Forget the Alexander fight, forget the Pulev fight, forget the Wilder fight, forget the White fight. We just want to see this particular fight because this fight was pushed to the forefront. And because it was pushed to the forefront, it's like everybody's unrealistically waiting or anticipating or expecting this fight to happen. And Tyson Fury just pretty much laying down the law. But again, I know what Tyson Fury's doing. He mentions Deontay Wilder. He wants to build up Deontay Wilder because he knows that damn fight has to sell. He knows it has to sell because if it doesn't, let's look at it this way. If the fight doesn't sell because there's no interest in the fight and he gets chinned, what does he gain? Counterpunch. Think about it. He has to sell this fight because, if he goes in there and he gets beat and he makes less money, even 60-40 from what's 60-40 out of nothing? It's still nothing. You know what I mean? So he knows that he has to go in there and make a performance, but better yet, he knows people have to buy this freaking thing. Because if they don't buy the fight, it'll be a flop. And then people will start looking at, oh man, Tyson Fury's maybe he's not marketable, or Wilder, this, that, and the other. It won't look good. It won't be a good look for Tyson Fury. So I know why he's saying that. But to be modest, he did include himself in why this fight may not happen. So you guys let me know what you think about Tyson Fury's statements. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.